What a day yesterday for England at Trent Bridge, blowing the Windies away in a 6-over spell of magic bowling yesterday. Here's the England Test captain, Ben Stokes, with praise for Shoaib Bashir after his fifer.
What he's done today is he's showed the world what he can do. You know, that wicket didn't offer hardly anything to a spinner throughout the whole Test match, and to be honest, I didn't think it actually did today. And what he was able to do today, but also in the first innings, was he was so aggressive, and his intent was always to look to take wickets and was never just to hold and end up. You know, the way in which he can change his pace, you know, overspin, underspin. I think he, you know, showed his full bag of tricks today in particular. I thought the ball he got Jason Holder with was a great sign of that. You know, you could see the seam was, you know, sideways, and you know, just he's got so much talent. His ceiling is so high.
And that was the England Test captain Ben Stokes praising Shoaib Bashir after his fifer yesterday, as England surged to a series win by blowing away the West Indies in a single session in the fourth day of the second Test at Trent Bridge. They were set 385 to win, and all four sessions to save the game, the West Indies. But they disintegrated from 61 without loss to 82 for 5 in a manic blur of about 5 wickets in 6 overs. Chris Wokes twice found the edge to remove openers Mikael Lewis and Craig Brathwaite. An off-spinner, Shoaib Bashir, 3 for 8 in 15 deliveries. Pretty impressive from him. There was some great pace from Mark Wood as well, some searing pace from Mark Wood. In fact, Michael Atherton in the Times today saying that he's rarely seen pace delivered like that across an entire Test match. West Indies all out for 143 in the end and beaten by 241 runs. It gives them their first series win since their tour of Pakistan in 2022. And they'll look for a 3-0 clean sweep when the final Test begins at Edgbaston on Friday, for which they have named an unchanged squad. I was actually yesterday scouring around for tickets for the first couple of days of the Old Trafford Test. They play Sri Lanka in the first of a three-match Test series. So I was trying to scramble around to get a ticket for that. For Wednesday or Thursday that day.
I got offered a ticket for Edgbaston next Sunday.
Did you?
But of course we're away.
We're away, yeah. But hopefully I'll get to go to Old Trafford for that, which is...
it'll rain.
Of course it'll rain. It rains every day in Manchester, as you well know. We're going to speak to Steve Harmison in just a moment. In fact, he joins us now. Hi, Harmy.
How are you, Sam?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you very much. What are we saying here? Great that England won the Test after a tricky second and third day, actually. There were moments during the course of the Test where they had to dig in, they had to bat well, they had to bowl well, as they did yesterday. But overall, this Test series looks like it's been won with relative ease. Are we concerned about the standard of the opposition here, or is this just a very good England team?
I think we concerned a little bit about the standard, not just of the opposition, Sam. I think the standard of Test match cricket around the world. I think Test match cricket around the world, apart from the big three of India, England and Australia, then I think Test cricket's in real trouble. There's no financial reward. I mean, the payments towards Test match cricket and what these guys lose playing Test cricket as opposed to playing franchise cricket, I mean, it's astronomical. So I think worry would be more, I think, the standard of Test cricket around the world about the big three rather than just this, not an average West Indies side, because they've got a decent bowling attack who haven't hit their straps yet. But they are well short. And an England team who are, you know what, they're evolving. They're looking for the next, I think, bowling unit after Broad and Anderson. And so far, signs have been very good, because Atkinson did well at Lords and Shoaib Bashir was excellent yesterday. He really was.
Yeah, talk to me about him, how much of a talent he is, because as Ben Stokes was saying, there wasn't as much in the pitch as maybe he got out of it. He's the youngest fifer since Jimmy Anderson at Trent Bridge. What did you think? I
thought he bowled really well. I thought in the first innings, his line was a lot straighter, a lot tighter, because obviously there wasn't much turn. This kid hasn't bowled a great deal when it comes to even first class cricket. He's not played a huge amount of cricket, and when you look at it in spin bowling terms, the spin bowlers get better as they get more and more experience in their careers. You tend to get your peak when you're sort of 27, 28 as a spin bowler. But first signs of him in India when we were out there for the first 2 Test matches was really, really impressive. How he handled himself, how he was on the field, his lines, his lengths. Yes, his skill level is good because he's playing international cricket. But over the course of this week, I think he's bowled beautifully. Holding in the first innings, and then I've just come off following on with Neil Manthorp, and Neil Manthorp obviously works for talkSPORT, commentator, and seen a million Test matches as manners. And he said to me, "Did he bowl West Indies out, or did the West Indies, give their wickets away?" And no, he bowled them out. He bowled them out on a 4th-day pitch, and that for a young man, the signs of that is fantastic. Because Sam, there's been there's been a bit of change with England over the course of this coming into this Test series. Jimmy Anderson got tapped on the shoulder. Ben Stokes got replaced by Jamie Smith. Obviously, Jack Leach has been replaced by Shoaib Bashir. And everybody might think that Anderson was the most difficult decision. I don't think it was. I think Jimmy was 41. He was eventually going to leave this cricket team. I think the tap on the shoulder of Jack Leach to be replaced by Shoaib Bashir was probably the hardest decision for Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum, Rob Key to make, because Ben Stokes has backed Jack Leach throughout his whole tenureship of England captain. So to see Bashir come in and take over and then perform, I think that's a huge tick in the box for Stokes, McCullum and Key of what they see this team evolving to get into Australia in 18 months' time.
It's even more remarkable, isn't it? Because Bashir isn't Somerset's #1 spinner. They actually prefer Jack Leach. He had to go out on loan to Worcestershire, which is quite an unusual route to the England team. So what does the future hold for Bashir?
I think the ceiling level, that's what they've seen. I think they've seen this young man and gone, wow, how good can he be in India? The ceiling level of him, I think, intrigues Stokes, McKee and McCullum to see where he could be. His release points, very, very good. Like I've just said, his lines and lengths and the way he learned over the course of day 1 to day 4 to bowl a team out, I think was, for a young man as inexperienced he is, that's a huge tick in the box. I think he's very, very popular when it comes from a dressing room point of view. He's a confident lad. I'm really impressed with him when I seen him close quarters on the field in India for them first 2 Test matches. So I think the ceiling level of where Shoaib could get to was why England picked him at the start of this summer, and I think they're intrigued to see where it can go. So I think he will be the one that goes to Australia. Then that tall release point driving into the surface will help obviously in the Ashes, and I think it was about getting volume of cricket into him, and so far so good. He's been really, really impressive. You mentioned that, Crookie, about Bashir and Leach, but there was the last round of county championship games was crazy. Jamie Smith is not keeping wicket because Ben Stokes is keeping wicket for Surrey, and England picked Jamie Smith. Shoaib Bashir's on loan because Jack Leach is #1 spinner for Somerset, and he's replacing him. And even Ben Stokes is batting #9 for Durham, because Durham had the night watchman in. England take really no notice of county cricket. They see a player, they identify a talent. He will work for us in this dressing room and his skill sets, and we're not bothered about what anybody else thinks. We're going to pick them. And so far, everybody that from a bowling point that England have picked, I mean, they've ticked the right boxes, and more often than not, the debutant has got a 5 in his first couple of Test matches.
Talking of talent, Ben Duckett is establishing himself as one of the world's best opening batsmen. He scores at such a speed, and he doesn't leave anything, does he? I think his stats suggest that he leaves just 2% of the deliveries that he faces. I mean, how unusual is that? And as a bowler, how do you bowl to someone like that, knowing that he's going to go for everything?
It's brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant. As a bowler, as a quick bowler who obviously was there to get wickets, it's different if you're a line and length bowler and your first hour just try to get the ball through the wicket keeper and try and create a bit of pressure, and Ben doesn't let you do that. As a former fast bowler who wanted to take wickets, I quite like somebody that played that way, because then you creating a chance. He might score runs, you might get him out. He's giving you a chance when it comes to slip if you get the ball in the right area. But it was brilliant to see. It really was. England were 50 for 1 off 4 overs in that Test match at the start, and there was all talk that Ben Duckett was going to miss the Test match because his girlfriend or his wife was about to give birth, and it just seemed that at like 1 minute past 11, you got a tap on the shoulder to say, she's well on her way. You're going to have to hurry up, because if you don't get there quickly, you're going to miss the birth of your child. So it seemed as if he had he had a purpose to get on with it. But joking aside, the Crawley-Duckett partnership at the top of the order for England, it might not lead to like a load of hundreds, but what it does is it sets the tone.
It gets you on the front foot,
the bowlers
doesn't it?
under pressure. And I tell you what, that is massive, especially what you've got the likes of Root coming in, Pope Root. I mean, Harry Brook is going to be an absolute superstar if he's not there already. And then Stokes with Jamie Smith coming at 7. I just think they're getting, ticking their boxes and getting their ducks in the right order and making sure that their batting unit is spot on.
Just for context, if I say that he leaves just 2% of deliveries, David Warner, who is quite sort of known as an aggressive batsman, he leaves 15%. That would be the next down in terms of statistics, which shows you just how aggressive Ben Duckett is.
Is it a risky strategy, though, Harmy, when it comes to the Ashes, when he's going to be up against better bowlers? Does he need to be a little bit more patient, potentially?
No, he does need to be more patient. He just if he does that in 10 innings, I think England will get off to a better start more often than not. And I think we've seen the pressure that you can put on a bowler. It doesn't matter who they are. I'll never forget 2005 when we got tortured at Lords, and Michael Vaughan came in at the start of Edgbaston and he said, "We have to score 3.75 and over." And we're like, "Against Warner McGrath? Are you for real?" And he's like, "No, we need to score 3.75 and over, because if we don't, we can't beat this team, because that's what they score at. So we're going to have to take risks against the 2 best bowlers of all time." And that was the only way we could beat them, is if we took a risk to go that way. And we put pressure on them, and McGrath got injured and that helped. But what England do is they're basically saying, whatever your best strength is, if it's your bowling department, we're going to try and put them on the back foot. And if we do that consistently, we might get 20 for 3. But we also could be 130 for 1 at lunch. And you are now sitting having your lunch and going, where on earth do we go now? And I think that, for me, is what bazball is all about.
Yeah, and this group don't really do patience, do they? They just go out and do thrashing and seeing what happens. So good luck to them, and it's definitely much better to watch, that is for sure. Harmy, thank you very much for coming on. The following on podcast will be on the talkSPORT app in a very short while, if you want to get all the fallout to the second test and the series victory over the West Indies.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.